Hello and welcome back to SXZ Bear. I'm Swiss Bear, going to be joined here by Fumpy. And now that we're styling and profiling, woo, like the Nate himself, and we're all set up with a pretty sea moth, we're going to go explore. Join us.
Modification station.
Okay, for me, I watched you build the modification station, and I felt like we'd walked into a Chuck E. Cheese, and I handed you a fistful of dollars that you simply needed to run and turn into quarters to go play games. You couldn't look at a blueprint fast enough and run to one of your chests to go grab materials. Talk to me about modification station and why kid and candy store here.
Well, okay. What was the first thing I built?
Knife.
Yeah. So automatically, I think even when we were playing, I automatically was like fire knife, cool. And I was just like fire aspects, Minecraft sword, let's go. Also,
I even asked you. I'm like, what made you go with the knife right away instead of like this or this? And you're like, really? Fire aspect. And then just wipe the knife a few times. And I'm like, for the love of God.
And it's the same thing in Minecraft. Cool, you go cut a fish, it's already cooked? Fuck yeah. Like, what the hell? Like, that just saves me a whole ass process that I'd rather not do.
Did I go to culinary school? No, but I own a knife that can cook a fish the moment I kill it.
Which is amazing.
That seems like the best fast food restaurant ever. Oh my God. There you go. Like, why did you join Altera? I'm only signing up for a year. Before I leave, I wish to acquisition one of these knives. Like, what do you plan to do with it? This is the rest of my career. I am going to open a fish and chip shop where I simply cut the fish in front of you, and it's cooked perfection every time. I don't even have to change the battery in this thing. That's
another thing, too. It's like, cool, you needed a battery to build it. Well, you don't need to change the battery, which is pretty fucking sick.
Yeah, I appreciate the lifetime on that. You know, I've tried to think about that where like, oh, and that one just lasts forever. You got to charge everything else. I've heard that argument. I appreciate that it's the one time it gives you a break. Like, this was a don't look a gift horse in the mouth kind of thing for me. Where like, oh, and I never have to charge it. Like, there's no charging station. There's no extra battery. Like, oh, that is awesome. And like you said, you're already set up with food. Even if you're out and about, between the knife and your base setup now, you only have to worry about how to make clean water to drink. Because you got food at the base, and even if you're not at the base, you just grab the knife and go cut the nearest fish in half.
Which I believe I had to do.
You did. So, again, modification station, keep going here. Oxygen tank. Big, badass oxygen tank, the mother of all oxygen tanks. How do you feel about that? And I know you love Usamo too.
Yeah, I was gonna say bumping up from, what was it, 135 to 200 something.
Yeah.
Like, that's, I mean, hell, I feel like I'd never have to touch the damn surface if I don't ever want to. You know what I mean? So no, oxygen tank, super cool. Glad I did it.
And obviously the modification station is going to be playing a huge part in the game moving forward. We'll get to those things as we get there. So, like we said, the knife is the first thing you built in the modification station. It's also one of the first things that you got in a time capsule. And the first one of these you came across, because you come across two in the playthrough. It's one of the few things I got excited about and was like, you need to grab that, because I thought you were going to go past it. We're out near Sparse Reef area, and you come across your first one. You came across your second one. I don't even remember where it was at. Talk to me about time capsules, because I think they're awesome. I love it. I've always made sure that whatever time capsule I leave is a good one.
Oh, dude. So in the way beginning, before we even pressed the record button on the first goddamn episode, he explained time capsules to me. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I didn't really think anything of it. It didn't hit me in the fucking face until, I found my first one. And I felt Swiss's excitement. He was like, stop, get there. I was like, okay. I picked it up, and he said, open it. So I opened it, and the first one I saw, or the message that popped up, was a picture of what I believe is a rocket. And it says, whoever finds this Even in the darkest hour, never give up hope. Good luck, my friend.
Yeah. It was awesome.
And I was like, oh, that's a really nice message. Like, what if somebody's like really needed that? And then when I was rewatching the video, Swiss was like, nice. What did he give you? I was like, wait, what?
Yeah. What did he give you? Like, check your inventory. What did he give you?
So not knowing that we actually get inventory, he gave me a Sea Glide and a bunch of titanium, which I was like, dude, that's super cool. Like, especially like for some reason, if you're like beginning of the game exploring like a crazy motherfucker, and you came across this, oh, dude, you're way ahead of the damn game.
Right. That was super. It would have been super helpful. Which I actually think it's funny. I think the Sea Glide you're running around with now is actually that Sea Glide because your other one's battery was almost dead. You're like, screw it.
And I do have to say, for some random ass reason, if the dude that left that is watching, please leave a fucking comment. I would love to have a conversation with you. You made my day, sir.
Yeah, that would be sweet. So for me, my first time capsule, I came across it very late game and didn't know what it was. And so, you go up, you scan it, and I'm like, okay, so I read the thing. Oh. All right, so I pop it open. The dude for me left me 3 of the green ion cubes. And it was, whenever you find this, it'll become useful at some point. I hope you have the same luck I do. And that was it. And like the dude had left a picture of a base somewhere in a kelp forest. And like when I got to, I was sort of late game. I was getting ready to build the rocket. Those ion cubes came real in handy. It was really nice because I didn't do something I probably should have done in the game and had come up a few short. And was looking at having to make a pretty long frickin' trip back someplace I didn't want to have to go. And no, I got this dude's ion cubes. Like, hell yeah. This is awesome. So you find your second time capsule. While we're out searching one of the deeper life pods, finding your second one. The fact that you came across the second one blew my mind. But your second one, what did you have in the second one?
I was pretty pumped about it. So it was a time capsule that said, hello, it is the year 2023, January 30th. And I love this game. I hope you like it as much as I do.
We do.
Oh, we do. Little did Pumpy know, but he loves this game as much as you do.
It's baller. It's a beautiful world.
And then with that, we got a nice little gift, which is a pretty pumped up gift. We got 2 ion cubes and a thermal knife, which is pretty sick.
Yeah. Fire knife.
And maybe a gel sack, but regardless.
No, and like that one was closer to the one like I found, like I said, where it had more of the mid to late game stuff where it was like, oh, that's fucking sweet. Like, especially the thermo knife, because like if you hadn't made it yet to suddenly get the thermo knife, like if you didn't even have the modification station for you to suddenly just have like, oh my god, how do I make one of these? Sometimes those time capsules can be cool shit like that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm sure you're thinking about what to put in yours.
Oh, dude, I'm going to deck it out. But that's the thing, too. I thought about that. I was like, I'm going to give them goddamn everything. But then I'm just like, I can't really just, like, put a prawn suit in there and be like, oh, have fun. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. We'll when we get to yours, we'll discuss what mine was and how I went about mine. But we'll save that till later.
I was just put a text. Subscribe to SXE Bear.
I was gonna say, like, yeah. So at this point, we've gone to some pretty deep places, and we get to the point where you're kind of questioning where this all ends up. Like, you hit this point in the game here where, cool, I've made all this new stuff, but where am I going?
What is it
kind of sets in?
Yeah.
Right, and you kind of hit that spot, and that's when I decided it was time to go on a bit of a journey. So I had you make the 3rd depth module for the Seamoth, which, luckily we were just in a cave that has ruby in it for you to pick up and gel sacks. So, I mean, you just found some new stuff through there. That was a very fruitful trip out to that life pod.
Yes, definitely. And it's funny, too. I believe while building the depth mod 2, we did it, came back, and I was like, automatically, I was like, well, time for 3. Like, and I was like, oh, we need ruby, and you were just like, okay, let's go get some ruby.
Right, and we had gotten lucky that you had just had that life pod too, because that's what I was looking for. I knew that had multiple resources out and around it. Yeah, finding the time capsule was just a bonus. But so we get you to make the third one, and this is where there's something that's been slightly off for me this whole playthrough, and you and I had talked about it while we were doing stuff, because there's a few different times I tried to get you to locations, and I'd be just off a little bit, and it would be a little bit of a struggle. And this went really weird.
Yes.
So, attempting to lead you down into the Bloodvine area, the super dark place to find the Mystic, the Lost River here. And Fumpy's base, we ended up finding out, is 400 and some meters farther south than my usual base area. And it's the first time that it really, really screwed with me because of kind of what happened for Fump. Part of it's my doing. I got very serious about this because I knew we were going to the Lost River. It was time for him to head down there. I wanted him to see where we were going and start to understand it. And there's some stuff to go do and scan down there. But I got very serious when I sent you there. Like, I threw you off from the get-go on this.
I mean, only because it was, oh, hell yeah, we got this and we got this, all right. And I was like, all right, let's go get some rubies. You're just like, okay, this is what we're doing. And then, like, your tone changed, and just the vibe, and I was just like, okay, I feel like we're doing something serious, and it just never let up. So, like, I knew it was serious. I knew I had to kind of take it serious, and at that point I just started getting nervous because obviously you've seen my gameplay, you've seen how on edge I am, so I was like, ooh, okay, maybe. This is when we had the hardcore moment of one, I led him in a wrong direction, and I mean, it was the stupidest wrong direction. There's a split. You can go left or you can go right. He needed to go left. I had him go right because my brain was thinking where he was going, and if it led down, he would just, sneak his way into it. It wouldn't be a problem. That decision, though, led him out into the wrong side of one of the islands, and we started to hear reapers. And then he found part of the edge of the ecological dead zone. All of this while bumping and running into random things and trying to stare at them. Either way, we got super turned around. And that was another thing I wrote down in my notes is, I don't want to say bad habits, but the habits that I have compared to normal gameplay, I guess. Because you're right, I have noticed that, and I even did it when I was recording earlier today, where I hear something and I turn around to fucking look at it. I don't know why I do that. You're used to games where you have a gun or a weapon, so your first thought at any strange noise is to confront it. I really think it comes from the type of games you play and the way you play them. You and Doc would send me exfil screens that were like, you did this, you did that, you killed 20 people, and I would send you guys screens of, I completed 2 missions, killed no one. Didn't even fire a gun. Right, and even in like Minecraft or whatever, you have your weapons, you have monsters that you do need to kill for resources and everything like that. So it's definitely a change of pace in this type of game. And for me, this became one of those, the survival knife tells you about the whole incident on Braxis Prime. And for me, from that moment forward, it was one of those like, oh, you don't. Okay, so I'm not supposed to damage output much. Okay. I killed a stalker with the knife. And that took like 10 minutes.
was no easy feat. I mean, it wasn't the hardest thing I've ever done in a video game, but like all of a sudden that shit turned into like Souls light type shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're swipe, run away, swipe, run away, swipe, run away. But then when you do enough certain damage to him, he would swim off and then start eating fish. And it's like, that fucker's healing. So then I finally kill the stalker, right? And it just kind of rolls over and goes lifeless and starts sinking to the bottom. The body didn't dematerialize. It never turned into anything. It didn't drop me any loot. And that was the moment I realized that, like, oh, wow, if I'm not just, like, getting food to feed myself, killing things is useless. It's just a really good way to kill yourself. So for me, I was able to very quickly just put myself in that mindset of, like, I am the prey, not the predator in this game.
Mm-hmm.
At least not yet. At least not yet. Even I've got to admit, there's some stuff coming where, yeah. I am no longer the prey. So, no, I think that it's one of those beautiful things getting to watch this process happen, is a reaction that serves you well in most other games does not serve you well here. My slow reaction to things like that in other games that normally get me killed, or my non-reaction, I should say, in this game served me really well.
Right, it's kind of validating, I'm assuming for you, where it's like, I don't do well with other games, and quote-unquote Fumpy does well in other games. It's nice that the shoe's on the other foot type deal.
Open my eyes to this style of game in general. So like I said, I hadn't really played too many survival procedural type things like this. I do like the simulators though. So this had just that really cool cross thread between the two for me, and that's part of why I dug into it so hard. There's also the science nerd in me that loves the biomes and how hard they tried to give each animal a realistic thing and all that stuff. There's just a lot for me to appreciate. In as much as I want that to be validating, that like my usual cautious playstyle and certain things like suddenly paid off the right way this time, I didn't get to learn them naturally because I had to go watch something and have somebody kind of explain for me what to do in the game. Like I said, I played for a few hours and then had to go walk to YouTube and like at Lost Beacon and Z1 or Z Nation or whatever. Sorry for butchering you on that one, bud. Those guys showed me, I got to watch videos of them doing it. So it wasn't until probably my second or third playthrough that I realized part of what frustrated me watching other people play was the slow realization that all of those things we just talked about in my normal playthrough or playstyle of games that's normally not the greatest. That's where I suddenly realized, like, holy crap, the fact that I am almost not bothered by most jump scare things made me better at this game, because, like, Reaper Leviathan scared me once. It will never scare me again. Like, you're not going to get me a second time. And that's where that being attuned to certain things came from. And so, no, validating now after multiple playthroughs, but at the time when I first realized it, no, it was one of those like, wow, you sucked so hard you had to have somebody else tell you this is why this game worked for you. So the worst part about this is we finally get to the point of like, okay, we're going back to Pooh, we're going to start this over. And you ask me the question of what's throwing you off, what are you trying to find? And I explained to you that, look, remember that spot I told you where like my first base was? I always build somewhere around there or have a clear path to it, and this allows me the free location of everything mentally. And Fumpy literally just, well, I know where it is.
Hop in a sea mode, let's go.
Of all the times that you can't remember shit, this was one of those, you knew right where it was, and sure enough, you drove right to it.
Yeah.
And then I looked at you, and then I had you turn back around. I'm like, do me a favor. You know when you got right here and you went here? I had you go right. That's what I fucked up. And then, so we get to the spot where my base was, and I'm like, do me a favor, look back at Pooh. And that's when we realized that, like, I was literally off by just that little bit, but those 400 meters mattered so much.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and I just thought it was funny where it was we got to where you would build your base, turned around,
Oh,
and then you were just like, oh, turn around and go down. There it is. I was like, son of a bitch.
and you were like, "Oh, this is a scary place." So yeah, you know, he takes me back to where my base is, and it's literally, you guys are gonna see in the video, it's literally 20 feet away from the jumping point into the blood kelp zone. So blood kelp zone. One, I tell you to go down. You go down and you get to see it. The big white blood kelp. You know, plants growing with the red pustule looking things all around them. What's your thought in this area?
Well, obviously, deep means scary, in a sense. So it was a little nerve-wracking, especially with me kind of having an understanding of what we're doing, where it's going to be tense. But just that, I was like, oh, okay, this is nice. And then you told me to get the blood oil, and I was like,
Yep.
It'll be a little later game. I was like, cool. And we're just exploring and getting some resources, and
We got some deep shrooms as well.
yes.
The deep sea acid mushrooms. That was the other thing we picked up there. But yeah, so that's when I lead you though to the mouth of the Lost River. And again, my point of bringing him down here is, one, there's some scanning we need to do. Place we had to number two, we had a place to explore. Good idea to get the scannables and stuff there. And then number three was, I kind of just wanted him to see where we were going to spend a good chunk of the next game. Like, we're going to get ready to come be down here kind of thing. So going into the Lost River, the giant mouth of darkness. I'm just going to let you take it from here until we bottom out on the first giant scannable skull. How is your first journey down the Lost River, sir?
It was kind of rough. Automatically, again, I said this before, I'll say it again. Automatically on edge. Because, you know, who wouldn't be? It's deep, there's glowing blue trees, that nice dense green fog. So it was, okay, the stingrays were pretty, and I knew they weren't harmful, but those are pretty. Then we come across a couple of other creatures, like the skeleton ampules or whatever the hell they are. And then obviously we come across the baby Leviathan.
Yeah. Yeah, you haven't even scanned one of those other guys or bothered to figure out what they are.
No.
You've wanted nothing to do with them. So they'll remain nameless until he has to deal with them.
Yep. So at this point, no, I was pretty you were giving me directions and I was not gonna go off track. That's for goddamn sure. with a baby ghost Leviathan just chilling there. No, we went pretty point A to point B, which we'll go back down. We'll explore a little bit. We saw the big brother of the cave crawlers, which brought back some traumatic memories, but avoided the hell out of those.
It's funny. So the cave crawlers, for me, never really bothered me as a thing to look at. But when it came to the ones with the longer legs, and I got a closer look at those ones bother me. Nothing should have legs like that. It's just uncomfortable. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how does that even... no. Want to smush. feel the need to smush. Anyway.
And then, obviously, continuing through, you get to a point where there is just a tremendous drop-off. And you tell me to go down. And, again, we're already pretty deep. Well, in a sense. And I'm just like...
Yeah, I think 900 was your max depth at this point. And I just had you jump from 600 to under 800, or, below 800. And it was like, you're going to have to stay up in the water column here, but you can get here.
So, yeah. No, definitely going a little deeper than usual, so a little nerve-wracking. And then we come into the the first like skeleton remain.
So I've always called that like the atrium. Like you pop out of the Lost River and it pours into just this giant opening that's got the like 4 or 5 different pathways. And it's always reminded me of like getting into an auditorium in a high school or something, or like the gym, and like, well, there's multiple doors out, but like this is the biggest room.
A nice little centerpiece.
Right. So, okay, for me, I'm going to recap my first Lost River here quick, just to compare for you. I do know on yours, I was proud of you because you were like, baby Ghost Reaper, what do I do? And I'm like, get around him? Like, what do you mean, what do you do? Get around him? And like, so you're going forward, and then you heard it come after you. You did a slight look over the shoulder, and you caught just enough a glimpse to confirm it's after you. And you immediately started weaving in between things. And I'm like, there you go. That-a-boy. Like, now you're getting it. Run hard, good sir. Where can't it go? Like, exactly. Like, it was the first time you reacted like something was trying to eat you and you couldn't kill it. And it's like, yes, I've been saying this.
Just run, motherfucker.
So my first time coming across the Lost River was by accident. I had the Seamoth, I had it all upgraded, and I knew I was looking for it, but I didn't realize where I was and that I was stumbling into it. I had the sonar on the Seamoth. And for anybody that's used the sonar in this game, it literally just grid papers the entire surrounding around you with a beam of light going forward and stays up for a second, showing you all the walls and stuff and within an area. So for me, all of a sudden, I was, going around this giant, down in the sinkhole there of the blood kelp zone, and wall, giant opening. Holy crap. Well, let's go in there. And so for me, it was just continuing to hit the sonar and just continuing to see this giant hole leading to nowhere. Like, I guess I'm going to keep following this. And then I ended up in the Lost River and was like, oh, holy crap. Then you get to the drop-off. Again, I got to the drop-off and was like, is that a wall or a hole? Or I hit the sonar and it's a giant fucking hole.
Is it the end of the map?
Oh, right. I started questioning if I was going someplace I shouldn't be. Like, this is that moment in the game I hit where, like, oh man, I'm going to get myself soft locked. Watch me sail off the edge of the map. My fucking ship's just going to explode. Like, this is where there's that giant monster hidden someplace that's just going to come up and fuck me up because I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I started to have that thing where, like, all of my gamer instinct told me that, like, yes, it's a hole, but you're not supposed to go there. Like, nobody was ever intended to do this. And then I followed it and was like, this is the thing I've been looking for the last 2 hours. And I've spent like, you went through the Lost River. And you made it down to that final drop-off with the big skeletal fish, the atrium there, we'll just say. In like under 10 minutes, right? 10, 15 minutes tops.
Yeah, something like that.
I did that in an hour and 45. I mean, a fucking crawl. I was afraid of everything, checked everything out, scanned everything, convinced I would never come back here. And that I was someplace I shouldn't be. Seeing the baby ghost Leviathan almost made me turn back around, because the only other time I'd seen them was when I went someplace I wasn't supposed to go. So, like, this really, really threw me off. On the flip side, it was also hella rewarding, because, like, I finally came out the other side and was like, I didn't even need to be afraid. Like, you know what I mean? Like, turns out, wasn't even that big and bad. Like, the journey was scarier than anything that was there. So no, for me it was cool that we got to the atrium there and you were able to just kind of like, oh, holy crap, this is cool. Awesome. So let's go check a couple things out in it. So we had 2 things to check out, and I'm going to throw this to you as to which one you want to talk about first. Would you like to talk about where babies come from, or would you like to talk about the warpers, where they come from and what happened?
Let's talk about where the baby leviathans come from, because I genuinely thought that was cool.
So we check out the Tree of Life. As most people know, as you're heading through the Lost River, you will suddenly enter an area that has this beautiful glowing tree thingy. And there are jelly rays all around it, and the mist goes from green to blue. And suddenly there's no predators in that area. And it's actually the tree that births all of the Reaper Leviathans, the Ghost Reapers. This was funny to me because you immediately locked on like, that's a beautiful tree. That thing's really awesome. What is this? And then I told you, and you were like, can we destroy it?
Yeah, no, that was my first thing. I was like,
why?
How do we blow it up? And it was,
Zero hesitation, chose genocide right there. I would like to delete an entire race from another planet.
it's funny too. It's like, yes, they're predators. Yes, they're trying to kill us, but like, they're not even our problem.
Actually, it's funny. It's actually funny if you scan one of the Ghost Reapers. They are not. They're highly territorial. That's a defensive reaction. They're frickin' vegetarians.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, the ghost Leviathans are frickin' filter feeders. They're just highly aggressive and defensive. That's all. Yeah, little dude wasn't trying to eat you. He was just like, why are you in my crib? Think about it, man. You rolled up into his playpen.
Yeah.
And we're just all like, you know, hey, deal with it. Why is he getting angry? Because it's his pack and play, bro. But so in that area, also got a chance for you to explore a little bit. Picked up some uranium, nickel, and found more of the magnetite stuff.
Which magnetite, cool. Don't know what the other two are used for yet.
Again, these were all things that I wanted you to come get because now that you have the modification station and all the other upgrades, and we're going to be doing a prawn suit soon, it was just showing you where to come get these things to make this a little easier. And then, like I said, the other thing we went and checked out since we came down this path was the lava zone itself. Obviously, he can't go deep enough for it, but I wanted him to see where we're eventually going to be going and what we're about to gear up for. So, what are your thoughts on seeing where we're eventually going to head here?
Motherfucker, terrified. No, I'm curious. I'm like, how do I explain this? Where it's like, I'm terrified that we're as deep as we are, and you're saying let's go deeper, and it looks like hell. Like, what? How much further do the things that we need to, things that we need to progress the story, like, go? Like, especially finding the alien tower, like, on the island. I think going down into the Lost River and finding the other alien tower. Like,
I could answer that question for you right now, if you would like a true reaction on this.
Yeah, go for it.
15 to 1,200 meters.
God fucking damn it.
Yeah, you're just over halfway there in freaking balls.
God, that's insane.
Hence the lava zone.
Which again,
which by the way, 100 meters is a kilometer. So we're talking 12 kilometers under the earth. That's 4 miles ish. So you brought it up. The alien containment facility.
Yes.
That was the other reason we came down here. And of course, we forgot a purple tablet. So we did have to make the trek back for a purple tablet and come back down. What you did really good with, like, every time we've gone into a larger cave like this, you've done a really good job of navigating yourself back through it the second time. I don't know if that's just the fact that I suck at navigating.
No, especially with like the deeper stuff, the things I'm a little more terrified. Maybe it's like a fight or flight thing where it's like I know my exits type thing.
Survival kicks in.
Yeah, no shit.
But so alien containment facility, we learned a lot here.
Oh yeah. That's an understatement.
First off, there was the ever-present warper that you absolutely hate just chilling outside the thing. It
And he
made you fear
teleported
for
me.
your sea moth. Yep. Made you feel fear for your sea moth. But this is where I had to tell you to get out. And you weren't so okay. But you explore the containment facility, and we got a list of things we're going to talk about. And this is where we're going to just cover some general scanning down here too, folks. Not everything's going to be just the alien containment facility. We're going to talk about a few other things here as well on the scan side since we're at it. Like and subscribe. First off, the warpers. Obviously, they've bothered you from the get-go, and we've narrowed it down to the fact that they don't seem natural. How did it feel to find out they weren't natural?
It's still uneasy. I was still 100% uneasy about it because, like, it opened up a whole can of worms of who's creating these. Like, obviously we know why they're creating these. But, like, also, why is it underwater?
Which we ended up answering. So, after you scan the warpers, you pick up some data information, and you scanned a couple of other artifacts in there, and that reveals to us what this place was and how it sank. We find out that they stole the egg of a sea dragon leviathan, and we're running tests on it to cure the coronavirus, because that's what this facility really was making the warpers and trying to find a cure for the virus, the disease, bacteria, whatever it is. The corona contagion is what they were trying to do, and the sea dragon came for its egg and screwed this base up, causing it to flood and sink.
Don't mess with Mama Bear.
But then there's that question of, especially for you, obviously I know what it is, but like you were just alluding to, you're questioning how deep we have to go and what's down there, and you're finding out that shit, there was something down here big enough to just sink half a base. Like, you know there's a big scary down there. I feel like the game never hid that ultimately you were going to come across the big scary. How do you feel about the setup for the big scary?
Okay, fell in love with this game. It took me a little bit, but this game does it so goddamn well. So the approach to everything, it is really well thought out. So how they go about it?
You're not wrong. It's a very calculated game. You're not wrong.
And I think the answer to majority of your questions is I'm still a little nervous. I'm still a little scared, but goddamn if I'm not excited to see what's happening.
That's what I was going to say. Tell me that isn't what has your hooks in, though. This game was never meant to be horror of any kind. And I think that's how they succeeded at it. They were focused solely on limiting your senses or making you feel a certain way. And they did so in such a way that, like, it's like watching a really good horror movie where, like, yeah, I'm terrified and I'm not ready for whatever the next scare is, but, like, that thing's fucking cool. Like, show it again. Just, warn me next time. It is how I end up feeling about the game at the end, is the, like, it's all super cool, but, like, fucking Warner Brother. Like, you didn't have to do this to me. Like, just show me the cool thing. Why did it have to be scary? But it's awesome. That's definitely part of what kept me going. I know my wife watched me many a time have the minor panic attacks with the underwater thing and just, like, shut the game off. Because, like, on Xbox, as soon as I boot it back up, it's going to pick up right where I left the game off. It wasn't like I had to worry about losing my... I knew what I was doing. This was a calculated thing, but it was one of those panic attack starts and, like, just shut game off because there was nothing that was going to let up either. Like, the only way I was going to relax was getting someplace safe in the game. But, like, the fact that the game made me feel so unsafe sitting on a couch is beautiful, and hats off to the game. Like I said, it's right up there with a solid thriller horror movie style thing for me, where like, oh my god, it almost got me. You're sitting on your couch. It's a fucking movie. Like, it got me to do that a lot, and I appreciate it. I loved it. And like you said, that's also the thing that kept me wanting to play it. So, other things down there. We scanned a couple of different creatures that are, according to the database now, extinct. And they're freaking huge.
Yes.
The lore of this planet overall has always overwhelmed me with this game. Like we just said, very calculated. All the way down to the idea that you thought about an extinct species. Like, you're telling the story of this planet, and I love that they thought far enough back for that. And there are mods out there that bring certain things back to life in the game, or bring them in, and those things are epic. Some of those mods are amazing. We're obviously not doing the mods here. But if you like those, go check them out for yourself. Definitely tell me what mods you've played with. I've watched a lot of them. They're pretty awesome. What do you think about the idea that the other alien race possibly got to watch these go extinct?
Or made them go extinct.
If the Kara is the reason for it, then yes, made them go extinct. Possibly.
It just opens a lot of questions of... I think earlier when we were talking, we mentioned if you see the biggest fish you see is a sand shark, that's probably the biggest you're going to see there.
Yeah, you and I had the conversation about... this is while Fumpy was playing. He started to relax a little bit and was asking me how I know... or like when I learned certain biomes were safe and this was the thing to look out for. And I laughed because I'm like, this is where they followed nature to an extent. Like, if there are a bunch of fish around in a spot in the ocean and they've been that way for hours and all of a sudden they disappear, it's because something bigger is in the area. And so, like, when you use that thought process that, like, the only time that food animals aren't present is when the big animal is what's eating or around. And then the idea that, especially in an ocean setting, the larger the animal, normally the less it spends time around things, especially if it's a predator. Barring, like, orcas. Most great whites don't travel together. You know, most of your larger things don't do that. So I loved the fact that that's how they built it into the game, where, like we said, when you're in the kelp zone, the biggest thing that you see and the most natural looking predator in the area are the stalkers. And they are. What do? They eat all the other little things around them. Why do they do that? Well, because there's nothing there to eat the stalkers. They are big man on campus, you know, and we went through that. So yeah, that train of thought. Continue.
It's just like, it just makes you curious if there's bigger, or if the skeletal remains that we scanned is the biggest. And it's just, again, so many cans of worms, so many questions still have yet to be answered.
There is one skeleton Fumpy has not scanned yet, and when he does, I will show him the mod that brings it back to life. We'll have that in video for you guys. Trust me, folks. When he scans, you know who. I'll show him what that mod did. You'll look forward to that, bud.
Yes.
You'll be glad. You'll be glad you got the sunbeam you got. And yes, I mean the ship. That's the scale of what I'm talking about. It's also down here in the containment facility where what we've just kind of been talking about, and what we've been talking about kind of throughout the whole game, finally really puts itself front and center again. And that is the Kara, the bacteria, the contagion, whatever you want to call it. it has you self-scan, and you've got the glowing green pustules. You freaked out a little bit.
I did?
I did not. So when I got to this point in the game, I had like already understood a few different things, and that was one of the mechanics I understood right away. I got what they were doing. So why did this get you so bad?
More or less because I forgot. I forgot what the...
Awesome. So for me, this wasn't a, oh shit. This was a like, oh, now it's happening. Okay, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah,
that's what I had, is I've been waiting for this. So for you, this was, oh shit, that's right, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And you have it.
And it's funny because I knew I had it, but I didn't think it was going to progress. If that makes sense. I didn't think there was more.
Ooh,
I thought it was just a...
what made you think that it wouldn't? Ooh. So this is one of those things I bet on immediately. The first time I realized there was a bacteria and that like local water scans show high levels of bacteria. I'm like, bacteria? It's just a self-scan. Do the self-scan. The moment I realized I had it and I had listened to the Degassi Cruise stuff, it was like, oh yeah, I get this. This is what Bart's dying from. Okay. I was hoping and excited that my character would get sicker. I wanted the disease. Bring it on. The inner nerd in me went, science, show me the pustules. So for you were convinced it wasn't going to. Why did you not think it would have taken the next step?
Well, maybe not that, but I didn't think it was going to be... How do I say this?
Oh, it was just more than you thought it would be.
Yes, I didn't think it was going to be so severe.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. I mean, the way they pop up on your hands.
Right, like where's the fever? Where's the cough?
Look being suppressed by the water. I didn't think about that. That would have been an interesting thing if your character, anytime you were on dry land or not underwater with the breather on, if had your character coughed from time to time or even just like sniffled.
Yeah, right.
As opposed to remaining quiet the whole time, that would have been an interesting thing.
You just hear it get more like shallow coughing and everything like that.
I was gonna say, I'm like, yeah, because as you go in the game, it would have been interesting to have at different sections suddenly you get, oh, that would have been cool. Anyway, a hell of a thought. And I didn't even think about that like, I suppose it didn't give you any warning. You'd just been playing for a while and you have the thing and day and nights don't seem to matter, and all of a sudden, bam, like, why did it, holy shit.
Yep.
We thank you for joining us here at SXZ Bear. For myself and Fumpy, we say we told you the warpers weren't real. They're not natural. There's nothing natural about them. Be afraid. Be very afraid. Until the next time when you join us, then don't be afraid because, well, maybe there's not warpers. Just maybe. Catch you next time.